Hello and welcome to the General Council meeting of November the 22nd, 2021. So I'll be looking for a motion to adopt today's agenda. Thank you, Councillor Rudick. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next up is the adoption of the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Looking for a motion, Councillor Worrell, thank you very much. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing nobody waving, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, first up, correspondence.
This is a letter from the Premier of Alberta addressed to Your Worship, Mayor McPhee. On behalf of the Government of Alberta, I would like to offer you sincere congratulations on your recent election as Mayor of the town of Vegreville. You are now fortunate to lead a truly great Alberta community. The town of Vegreville and our entire province has been through several challenging years. Our economy still has not fully recovered from the 2015 economic downturn, but the impact of which is magnified by last year's global COVID-19 recession and energy price collapse. Despite these challenges, Albertans have continued to demonstrate true resilience and our province's great strength, a deep and abiding entrepreneurial culture. Thanks in part to the determination of Albertans, we are experiencing a remarkable economic recovery across our province. Now historic, with new investments across our economy, Alberta is now leading Canada in economic and job growth. We are pleased to continue the momentum in 2022. It is critical that we work together to continue this exciting progress so that those who have experienced so much adversity in recent years can fully participate in the current and upcoming recovery. I very much look forward to working with you, your administration, and the Town of Vegreville Council toward this end. Whatever political differences may exist, we all serve the same citizens who broadly share the same aspirations, the opportunity to achieve their potential through a strong economy and a safe community with a high quality of life. You have my commitment to seek solutions together in a respectful and collaborative way. I'm excited to meet with you in the weeks ahead to identify common goals and areas in which we can get real results for residents and for all Albertans. With the best of luck for a successful mandate as Mayor, I remain sincerely Honourable Jason Kennedy, Premier of Alberta. Premier of Alberta. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Motion to receive and file goes to Councillor Barry. Any discussion? Sounds a lot like his opening statements at Alberta Municipalities. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, we got a letter from Rick McIver.
Right, this is Alberta Municipal Affairs Office of the Minister addressed to Mayor McPhee and Council. Congratulations on your election to office and choosing to serve as an elected official for the town of Vegreville. Our government looks forward to working with you to make life better for Albertans. As our economy recovers, there are many opportunities for us to collaborate on shared priorities like jobs and public safety, making sure Albertans have access to strong public services they can count on, like transportation, infrastructure, parks, and libraries. It is an honor and privilege to serve Albertans in elected office. As elected officials, we strive to act with integrity, to work openly and transparently, and to actively demonstrate our democratic accountability to Albertans. This is fundamental to our success as stewards in managing the affairs of our offices and in achieving demonstrable results for our communities. Once again, I extend my congratulations and thanks for your willingness to participate in the democratic process and for your commitment to Albertans. I wish you all the best in this new term of office and look forward to meeting and working with you to provide good government, improve our communities, and faithfully serve the needs of Albertans. Sincerely, Rick McIver, Minister.
Thank you again, Cliff. A motion to receive and file. Councillor Curtis makes any comments? Well, I would say that at AUMA that Minister McIver was one of the most sincere persons there, and even butted in a few times to tell somebody that I have an answer to your question from 20 minutes ago. So I know that he's always very respectful of municipal politicians, because that's where he started. So, okay, all those in favor of receive and file? Carried. Thank you very much. What do we got next? Minister Madu.
This is from Alberta Justice and Solicitor General, Office of the Minister. Dear Mayor, Reeve, and Council, I am pleased to announce the release of the Alberta Provincial Police Services Transition Study completed by PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, Canada, and to invite your municipality to participate in further engagement on the findings of this report. The Department of Justice and Solicitor General will be hosting virtual and in-person municipal engagement sessions between January 22 and March 2022. Municipal engagement sessions will be open to municipal elected officials, municipal employees, and organizations representing municipalities. Please see the attached for instructions on how to register for a session near your community. The engagement sessions will explore the concepts and information outlined in PwC's work, gather feedback on these ideas, as well as local policing perspectives that will be used to refine PwC's proposed model and inform provincial government decision-making. Discussions during the engagement process will draw material from all three PwC reports: PwC's final report, PwC's current state report, PwC's future state report. It is important to emphasize that no decisions have been made with regard to Alberta establishing its own provincial police. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, is an important Canadian institution consisting of exceptional men and women who perform great work, risking their lives every day to keep our communities safe. While Alberta's government has the utmost respect and appreciation for the work of the RCMP's frontline members, we also have a responsibility to examine our model of provincial policing to see if there are other innovative alternatives that would increase policing services for Albertans, involve Albertans in key decision-making process, is cost-effective, and places community policing at the forefront. In 2022, the Fair Deal panel consulted with tens of thousands of Albertans and heard many people's frustrations with the challenges of relying on contracted provincial police force that is ultimately managed by Ottawa. The panel recommended that the province create an Alberta Provincial Police Service to replace the RCMP. The Alberta government supported this recommendation in principle, but committed to additional analysis. In October 2020, Justice and Solicitor General contracted with PwC to develop this analysis, and on April 30th, 2021, PwC delivered their report. PwC's Alberta Provincial Police Service Transition Study details the operational requirements, process steps, and cost of potential transition to an Alberta Provincial Police Service. Excuse me. The Alberta Provincial Police Service Transition Study presents an innovative provincial policing model that would increase the number of frontline police officers and civilian specialists serving our communities, have dedicated mental health nurses and social workers to assist frontline police response, prioritize community policing that would see Albertans recruited and serving in their local communities, less transfer of officers in and out of communities and the province, which would increase police knowledge of local public safety issues and improve detachment staffing levels, reduce federal provincial jurisdictional barriers that limit the integration of police services across Alberta, have a governance model to increase the provincial police's accountability to local priorities and policing needs, introduce new approaches to detachment deployment models to reduce police response and times, and leverage efficient back office functions by utilizing existing provincial government resources to make the provincial police more cost effective. I encourage you to attend a virtual or in-person engagement session to discuss the proposed model for an Alberta Provincial Police Service and to discuss what this model could mean for your community. If you have any questions regarding the engagement sessions, contact my department by emailing. Yours very truly, Casey Madu, Minister.
Thank you, Cliff. I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Bullock, you ready to do that? Sure. Thank you. Okay, any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Worrell.
I just would say that I would look forward to taking part in these. I think that it's important for us to take a look. That isn't for saying that we are supporting or speaking against a recommendation for transition, but I just see a few things that would need a strong clarification. One of them being they talked about dedicated mental health nurses to assist frontline police responses, and I would want certainly to hear more from them as to how they would plan to provide those additional nurses, given that right now they're having a problem with shortage of nurses doing the current job. So I would want to see some recommendations or information as to how they plan to provide additional nurses. So I think that's something we would want to keep in mind. Of course, we know that the reform won't stop the advocacy that's needed, because we also have an issue with our criminal justice system that, regardless of which police force we have in place, isn't solving that problem. So, you know, I would want to hear that not only we as municipalities, but that they aren't looking at transitioning without continued advocacy on their behalf for that. And then the only other thing I had noted was I still also am hoping in hearing more, and this is a question that I would have moving forward with them, is what component do they have towards some of their prioritization? Because it was one of their government commitments in the past that they would be doing regional areas where they would review potential bail hearings coming up and make recommendations for hold without bail. There's of course some regulations where you have to, you know, allow due process, but there was also a commitment made prior that they would strengthen the recommendations, and I don't feel that I'm seeing that at this point. So I certainly welcome the fact that they're looking at consultation, and I think we should try really hard as a community that's highly impacted to take part in those in the future.
Okay. Councillor Curtis?
Yeah, I second what Councillor Worrell was saying. I would definitely like to know about introducing new approaches to detachment deployment models to reduce police response times. We know that in rural communities, response time is key. A lot of issues with crime in rural areas. And again, it all sounds very good, and you know it'll cost less to reduce this and that, but I'd like to see the actual workings behind it before you can say that you're going to reduce response times in rural areas.
Oh, Councillor Riddick?
I would echo the comments of my colleagues. I find the last sentence on the first page probably the most interesting, because that is kind of the advocacy that we've had all along with the RCMP. So I'm not sure that we answer the questions about increasing policing service availability, involving Albertans in key decision-making process, cost-effective, and placing community policing at the forefront. I don't know that that's answered by this new policing model. And most importantly, we have a unique situation in Vegreville where we've paid for our own police detachment, which places us in a uniquely precarious situation and makes us additionally vulnerable to any change, because we would not necessarily be recouping that cost. So I think it's incumbent upon us to not only comment on policing models, but also the existing weight that we bear with the debenture of a new police station.
Okay. Well, I'll weigh in here a little bit. I have read a lot of the report, and I encourage everybody to get involved where they can. Any discussions or open houses or any, to read any of the literature on any of these sites that are open right now, because it doesn't, what I've read, it doesn't address the imbalance in payment for municipalities over 5,000. So we're still paying 100% of our own, plus we're throwing in tax dollars like every other Albertan for the rest of the policing. It doesn't say how they're going to make up the $170 million that the federal government puts into the costing of police in our province today. And my biggest problem is it does not say anything about the catch and release program. If they want to be serious about cutting cost in policing, I'm not saying I'm against a provincial police force, I want to see some more. But if they don't start putting people in jail pretty soon, it doesn't matter who's catching them, really. Because if you're just letting them go, what sense does it make? So I encourage everybody to get involved and get as much information as you can and keep telling, no matter where you're listening, about what our problems are, how we feel paying double for policing. Having said that, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. What's up next? The Archbishop.
Your Worship, I'll be reading the next two items.
Okay.
Okay, so this letter is from the Office of the Archbishop, addressed to Mayor Timothy McPhee. Dear Mayor McPhee, I am writing to offer you my sincere congratulations on your election as Mayor of the town of Vegreville. Please be assured of the support and prayers of the Catholic parish of St. Martin's of Tours as you begin your new term of office. We look forward to collaborating with you and members of your council as we work together to service the needs of our neighbors, especially the poor and vulnerable in our community. Sincerely, Archbishop Richard W. Smith, the Archbishop of Edmonton.
Thank you. Take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Lemko makes any comments? Well, I want to thank him for writing the letter to us, and I don't remember that last election, we getting one from the Archbishop. That was nice. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. President of the Library Association of Alberta.
This next letter is from Kirk McDonald, the Library Association of Alberta President. Dear Mayor and elected councillors, on behalf of the Library Association of Alberta, I would like to express my congratulations on your recent election to your municipal council. I'm sure you are eager to begin your work serving your constituents. The purpose of this letter is to introduce the Library Association of Alberta, LAA, as a valuable partner in advocating for your library. The LAA is a nonprofit, volunteer-run organization whose mission is to strengthen the library community in Alberta by effectively advocating for libraries and library workers from all sectors. Like you, the LAA believes that libraries are a thriving and vital aspect of Alberta's communities. They are places that serve all members of the community and with programs, resources, and technology necessary to build thriving communities and informed citizens. Local entrepreneurs, students, families, newcomers, seniors, and educators are just a few examples of the types of people that use your local library to build skills, gain employment, make connections, and most importantly, build community. I am also writing today to highlight the important relationship between municipalities and public libraries. As a member of council, you have the ability to make a significant impact in your community through your support of your local library. If you would like to learn more about the relationship between municipal council and library boards, we recommend this short document from the Alberta government. We also encourage you to reach out to your local library if you haven't already to see firsthand the great work being done for community members. Once again, my congratulations on your appointment to council. We value the work you are doing to build your community, and we encourage you to reach out at any time with questions or simply just to connect. Warmest regards, Kirk McDonald.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Warwick, thank you very much. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, Director Casey.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is the monthly cash statement for the month ended October 31st, 2021. We began the month with $11,525,930 in our general account and investment accounts. We ended the month with $10,891,027 in those same accounts for a net use of cash of $635,129. The major non-regular sources of cash during the month were funding from the County of Minburn for the FCSS and the library of $74,396, and also from the province for FCSS and the FRN of $69,217. And the major use of cash during the month was to Excalibur Mechanical for the work on Southeast 17 lift station for $372,125.
Take a motion to, accept the report as read. Councilor Rudick makes the motion. Any questions of, Director Casey? Guess you got off that one pretty easy then. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. CAO, Cliff Craig is up next.
A request for council decision, and the topic is signing authority for the interim corporate services director. The background: in September 2021, Megan Saskew was offered and accepted the interim corporate services director position for the term January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2022. With the retirements of the town manager and corporate services director in December of 2021, the town should have at least 2 administration signing authorities. The signing authority structure for the town, effective January 1, 2022, would be: elected officials would be mayor or deputy mayor, together with administration, interim corporate services director, or infrastructure planning and development director. The communication strategy, written notification with a copy of the approved council meeting minutes, will be forwarded to the applicable financial institutions and corporations as required. The recommendation is that town council authorize Megan Saskew as a signing authority for the town of Vegreville effective December 1st, 2021, for the term of the interim corporate services director appointment.
Thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Rudick makes the motion. Any comments? Does anybody want to know any history on the Megan Saskew? Seeing nobody too concerned. All those in favor? Carried. We'll talk about this later, okay, Meg? Thank you. Cliff, are we gonna go back one, Cliff?
Oh, okay.
We don't have to go in order every time.
Sorry.
Everybody
It was
knows
in the
that
wrong
I
order.
don't.
The topic, a request for council decision. The topic is to appoint an alternate member of council to the intermunicipal committee. So the background: at the regular council meeting on November 8, 2021, council passed bylaw 09-2021, intermunicipal committee bylaw, which replaces the previous intermunicipal development plan committee bylaw number 18-2018. The intermunicipal development plan bylaw had only 3 members of council with no alternate member. Council, at their organizational meeting on October 25, 2021, requested that an alternate member position be added to the new intermunicipal committee. The new bylaw 09-2021 for the intermunicipal committee incorporated an alternate member position to be appointed to attend in an appointed member's absence. Communication strategy: the County of Minburn, number 27, will be notified of the alternate's naming and appointment. The recommendation that town council appoint Councillor Lemko as the alternate member to the intermunicipal committee.
Thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Berry makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Are we doing the next one?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Go right ahead.
So this is a request for council decision. The topic is Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership Application for the sewer lift station and forced main upgrades. The proposal to apply to Alberta Transportation for the water and wastewater grant for the sewer lift station and forced main upgrades. Background: the current sewer lift station was constructed and tied into the sewage lagoon system in 1979. This is the only lift station system that pumps 100% of the effluent from the town to the lagoon treatment system 2.8 kilometers away. The piping inside the lift station is a mix of cast iron and steel. Recent ultrasonic and non-destructive testing has confirmed the interior piping is in satisfactory condition. The cast iron outlet pipe and the 2.8 kilometer high-density polyethylene force main are not in satisfactory condition and continue to fail. The cast iron pipe has corroded underground to the point that it is failing and is a dangerous liability to the town's only means of pumping sewer effluent to the lagoon. Cathodic protection was installed in 2020 to stall the erosion of the cast iron outlet pipe. However, the damage had already occurred and it is in need of replacement. The 2.8 kilometer, 18-inch outside diameter force main was constructed out of HDPE piping that was fused together and directionally drilled, a new technology and new material for 1979. There have been many force main repairs over the last 40 years. Unfortunately, the pipe continues to split laterally in random locations. In recent history, the frequency has been increasing, now resulting in 6 breaks in just the last 8 years alone. As the force main crosses the Vermilion River prior to discharging into the lagoon system, the 2 recent breaks have caused large amounts of effluent to discharge into the river. The force main effluent enters the primary lagoon cells to begin treatment by way of a control valve and several splitter manholes constructed from concrete. The constant exposure to H2S gas over several years has caused these components to deteriorate to the point where failure is imminent. The water and wastewater application would be to request funding for a replacement of the cast iron outlet pipe with stainless steel, replacement of the 2.8 kilometer of HDPE sanitary force main with new advanced technology, and replacement of the control valve and splitter manholes with H2S resistant concrete. Financial implications. The preliminary Class D engineering estimate is $2,500,000 for the entire force main replacement project. The town is eligible for funding under 2 grant programs. The Alberta Municipal Water Wastewater Program, the required provincial share for ISIP is 42.5%, is 40%. We would be at 42.5% at $1,063,500. The Invest in Canada Infrastructure Program under the Green Infrastructure Stream would be 40%, and contribution would be $1 million, and the Town of Vegreville contribution would be $436,500 for a total project cost of $2,500,000. Communication strategy, written application to Alberta Transportation, Alberta Municipal Water Wastewater Protection Project Branch, together with an ISIP Green Infrastructure Stream expression of interest would be completed and forwarded to the appropriate ministries. Recommendation is that Town Council approve the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership application for the sewer lift and forced main upgrades. This requires council approval before we can put the application in.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any discussion? Councillor Warwick?
Just have a question, Cliff, as far as the green infrastructure stream, what's the timeline for that? Because of course some of their infrastructure programs aren't open. So what is the timeline for applying for that one?
That particular stream is closed at this point. The wastewater stream closes November 30th. That's why this is here tonight. But we will start the process anyway, because it takes a while to complete the expression of interest.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
I was happy to see that this is proceeding and we have the access potentially to 2 different grants. I have forwarded this request for council decision to some of the staff at FCM that are responsible for the Green Municipal Fund. So the ISIP funding isn't open right now, as Councilor Warwa was alluding to, but there have been a number of grants that have been available for precisely this type of project, as well as loans, so there can be a combination. So I've got that staff ready to reach out to some of our staff here too, so they'll be following up with you.
Okay, just so everybody knows that, Councillor Orwalla and Councillor Curtis and myself met with Mike Damberger, he is the Regional Director for Transportation. He was representing the Minister. We met with him on Wednesday, I think, or was it Thursday? Wednesday, we explained everything to them, and they understand the urgency in this matter, where it's the only way that anything leaves our town when it comes to the sewer system. And they reassured us that no matter what we do, the preliminary work, there's no penalty to get it done, to get everything started. The grant, it will apply if it was 2 years from now that we got the grant, there would be no penalty for us getting engineering or the environment stuff taken care of and stuff. So I want to thank both the councillors for coming with me, and they seemed like they took it in a very positive note, and they said that we need to work on the ICIP grant and we'll watch when it reopens again for sure. But it was a very positive meeting, and I think Councillor Curtis, you had a conversation with Mike later that evening too as well. All right. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so next up is, maybe we should go through the council reports first and then we'll do that last one. Okay. So we'll start with Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. So November 17th to 19th, attended the AUMA convention in Edmonton, which is now the Alberta Municipalities. I thought it was a pretty good conference. All in all, there were some good speakers there. There's some good information. It was nice to be able to be in person and actually meet other councillors that from around the province. On November the 19th, when we came back, council got together and decorated a Christmas float. I'd like to thank Director Phil Rowe for helping to set that up and helping to decorate. On the 20th, we had our stationary Christmas parade, which I believe that very many of the citizens drove through, and I think they enjoyed being in a warm car while we stood outside. And in tonight's regular council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lemko.
Thank you, Your Worship. I too attended the AUMA conference and trade show. And I must say it was nice to get together as a group and once again collaborate and see what's going on amongst other communities, and some of the ministers' reports and all that was kind of interesting. Let's get a feel for us, get us back to what we do and do well. On the 19th, I also decorated the town float, and it was nice to have Phil over there have it all ready for us, and it was an interesting evening. November 20th was the stationary parade, which I attended. I can say I wasn't very stationary there when it was so cold with the wind, moving around to try and stay warm, but I thank all the people who came out to enjoy the floats and the festivities that were out there. And tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bullock.
Yes, on November 15th and 16th, I attended the Munis 101, the Essentials of Municipal Government course, which was offered by the Elected Officials Education Program. On November 17th, 18th, and 19th, attended Alberta Municipalities Convention. Sat in some very good sessions there, including one with the chief, which was really good. That was really interesting to look forward to what could happen with that going forward. November 19th, when we got back, decorated the Christmas float, and Director Rowe was obviously a real big help on that one. November 20th, attended the Christmas light up and parade, and tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Yeah, I too attended the Munis 101 with Councillor Lemko. It was nice being new on council to get some background and to learn about the MGA and all the fun stuff that'll be coming our way from residents of the town and ways that we can help improve. And as well, the AUMA conference from the 17th to the 19th. And we got back again, helped decorate the town float. And again, Director Rowe was there helping out, which was really great. Stationary parade as well, which was very fun for me. I got pretty animated and tried to make the kids laugh as much as I could, handing out candy canes and stuff. So it was fun. A break from the meetings and the new information that we're trying to get in. So it was good. And then earlier today we had our FCSS meeting. And again, a big discussion around homelessness and what is homelessness and how it affects Vegreville. With some of our public services doors being closed right now because of COVID, it's very tough. So we're working really hard. Councillor Warawa has been working very hard as trying to get that opened up. So that's one thing that hopefully comes our way. And then we had our regular council meeting, and that was it for me.
Thank you very much. Councillor Warble.
Thank you. Obviously had many of the same meetings. We attended the AUMA from November 17th to 19th. And then, of course, the Christmas parade on the 20th and our FCSS meeting today, followed by the council meeting. I'm just sort of running through it because I just wanted to give one update that a couple of the items that ran into each other a little bit. We had just come off of doing our homelessness task force meeting prior to going to the AUMA. While we were at AUMA, obviously we attended sessions, but one of the key things, there's resolutions passed. I think it's important to know that one, and I guess I got to stop calling it AUMA. It is now rebranded as Alberta Municipalities, so I'm going to attempt to stop using the other acronym. But one of the resolutions that passed, which goes to show the things we've been bringing forward here, our concerns with some of the provincial offices being closed, was literally a major concern of all municipalities, and that's why a resolution was actually passed as one of the items that they'd be advocating to the government on. On our last day, there was a minister's panel, and we sometimes have an opportunity to stand up to that one. And I was able to get in a question. I think it's probably fair to say that I was actually out of time. I was not gonna make it into the line, and they had made a decision to extend it, and probably after extending it and mine being the last question, they wish they wouldn't have, because it sparked a little bit of issues. So my question went to Minister McIver in regards to the downloading of responsibilities on municipalities. So I would say that I was thankful to the minister that he immediately sent over staff to talk to us, and we're hoping for some follow-up conversation there. And they've already emailed, and they did seem very receptive for the discussion and understanding about the downloading of services. But immediately after, as I was leaving, I also ended up seeing our social services minister. Of course, that's Minister Luan, and he's a strong advocate for FCSS. However, I caught him outside of the panel there, and I raised some concerns that you can't advocate for FCSS and say how supportive you are at the same time as you're downloading services onto them. And that's a huge issue. So one thing I just wanted to let everyone know, from our homelessness task force at the last meeting, I had asked to be able to reach out to our MLA to discuss what the strategy is for the area. She has gone back to us and actually will be meeting with Councillor Curtis and myself tomorrow. So we are going to be once again reiterating the fact that the provincial offices, included the MLA's office, needs to be opened, period. I think it's fair to state that if we were at an AUMA, Alberta Municipalities Convention, that had 500 people in the room, there's absolutely no reason for provincial government offices not to be leading the charge. The second thing we are going to be speaking to her about is the homelessness task force. So we're going to want to know, obviously, what the plan is for the area. Last week, the province announced $21.5 million for some additional beds and some isolation sites. And they said that $6.6 million of that would be used to open up 285 spaces in 10 communities and also have women's support services. Now, I will ask for more information on that. However, in what I saw from the announcement, we saw about the funding that would go towards places like the Bissell Centre and the Mustard Seed and Commonwealth Stadium. But we need to know what the plan is for Vegreville, because there were a number of communities that were listed for isolation sites. We saw places from Red Deer, Calgary, Grand Prairie, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Lloydminster, Drayton Valley, Leduc, Slave Lake, and Wetaskiwin. And I want to know what the plan is for Vegreville, because I think it's fair to say that we're often expected as a municipality to bear the brunt of being a hub to our community, to our region. We provide everything from regional services within our community that go towards healthcare and education and recreation. And if we're being asked to be that hub center for all of those things for the surrounding communities, how and what is the plan for Vegreville? So I understand they can't put a center in every location, but I would certainly suggest that if we're the hub, there should at the very least be some contingency planned for public transportation that we could then have people picked up that are in a homelessness situation and taken to one of these communities. So I think that's gonna have to be an important part of the conversation. When I spoke with Minister Luan, I was disappointed that I was given an answer that we would see facilities and some of these support services through the province be opened when safe. Well, I think I'm not gonna pull any punches. There is no time, in my opinion, when a vulnerable essential service like these should be not opened when you've provided a set of regulations and restrictions for being able to open up everything from rec facilities to cinemas to hockey games. There's no reason why not one building should be opened, and I have no problem saying this, not one building should be opened if they didn't open first. These are vulnerable services, and I was disgusted by that answer. And I have concerns when they say when it's safe to be open, because what were we doing there in a panel in a room of 500 people if they can't find a safe way to open essential service? So I won't harp on that all that much more, but that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Riddick.
Well, I've got a full docket here. I can still join lots of meetings by computer with my leg up and stationary. So I've had a ton of FCM meetings. November is usually our board meetings, but I have additional meetings that have popped up as we prepare for advocacy meetings with all federal parties in the federal government. So on November 10th, I attended Community Safety and Crime Prevention Committee. It was a session on decriminalization. And these are perspectives from law enforcement as well as community, which is the other end of the spectrum when we're talking about policing costs. And it was very interesting to hear some of the conversation around that table, particularly from communities that have 3 sets of police forces. And so again, going back to the letter that we received from Minister Madu, talking about reducing police costs, further availability of police force and adequate staffing seems to be pervasive even in, and particularly in communities that have provincial police force, a local police force, as well as RCMP. So just to go back to the idea that we would reduce our costs and have better access to policing, that's unlikely. Same day, I also attended Respect and Democracy in Local Politics, and this was the basis for the Respect and Local Democracy that many of us took as a pledge in the previous provincial election, municipal election, and this was put on by the Quebec Municipal Association, talking again about the need to raise the bar in terms of what our expectation is in terms of professionalism and ensuring that there's decorum. A number of different other presentations, but I would just go to November 17th now, and the first library board meeting that I attended. So it was great to be able to join that group. A very capable chair, Mr. Mike Cooper, keeps that group organized, and we were able to talk about upcoming budget, and we had a discussion just prior to that with Mr. Casey and Ms. Saskew about how we're going to proceed with the budget for the library. So there's some interesting programming for this next little while, answering a need that's been in the community. So every Friday for the next little while will be a teen program that's a free activity, basically allowing teenagers to have a place to access in public to be able to hang out in unstructured format. So that'll be 6 to 8 p.m. on Friday evenings. So that has been shared with both of the schools, and hopefully if you know any teenagers that need an activity, that would be a place for them to head down to the local library. Just want to draw attention also to some of the sessions that were at the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association, now known as Alberta Municipalities Conference. Great to be able to join in and see some of the activity virtually. I did miss out on a lot of the things that my colleagues got to see, but I was very interested to see the range of resolutions that came through in the discussion about some of them. Most particularly, some of the things that came forward about elder care and the transition in terms of some of the provision of supports for vulnerable people, ranging from municipal support for mental health services, seniors care, ambulance servicing, as well as police funding models. So there seems to be a very clear direction that people in Alberta need to continue to lean on municipal government, and we're having a continuous download of provincial responsibility. So interesting to see lots of those. And today's council meeting, we also had our final economic development board meeting this afternoon. And I say final, it will be the final version of this version of economic development meeting. So we were able to get together with our group and discuss what's happening in the community. Some of the things that are coming forward for good news for the community, that year over year house sales, for example, between 2020 and 2021, average list price is almost $50,000 more, moving up to $217,000 as the average list price of houses. And in 2021, they sold 121 houses so far, or properties so far, which is a notable increase from last year of 84. So they're feeling very positive. And a combination of people moving to the community, both people due to COVID wanting to have a smaller center as their home. Some of the houses that were in inventory from the CPC closure, as well as a random smattering of people that are changing locations in Vegreville, cycling up or cycling down to a different house. And right now we're back down to the average number of 74 houses on market. So some big changes in the last couple of years, so some good news there. And overall, we had some C1 business incentive applicants and some more that will be coming forward, as well as some conversation with some of our members about what's happening with Buhler as they cycle through their last few staff there and make their transition. Last thing I would just say is that as this version of the Economic Development Board closes down, they were happy and received the congratulations and appreciation from Mayor and Council for their information and their input. And they are very appreciative of the frequent emails that they get from our Economic Development Manager with funding proposals and opportunities. And we'll continue to have that prescribed, decisive interaction with them. And they look forward to meeting Councillors Bullock and Councillor Curtis as we move forward to the next version. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you very much. And we should have some bylaws around that committee fairly quickly and get our first meeting arranged on that. So. On the 10th of November, I had a conversation with our manager, Cliff Craig, regarding the fire service agreement with the county, and we're going to talk about that in a closed session here coming up right away. We also had another discussion with economic development and infrastructure and planning regarding ATCO's gas and electric and water, and for some of the new industries that we're talking about and what their needs are going to be at the Prosperity Park. And I think we got a pretty good handle on what's going to happen down there, and we're working with ATCO right now to make sure that we will not be under the electrical or the gas needs or the water needs for anything that we bring forward into the park. On the 11th was Remembrance Day. I was in person, and Councillor Curtis was there as well. And it was a little chilly, but it was nice. It was nice to see everybody out that did come out. I too attended AUMA, Alberta Municipalities. I must say that the resolutions, the concerns of other smaller municipalities are pretty much exactly the same as ours, and I don't care who's in government. They keep making announcements to do with large cities and how they're going to offset costs for them, and the downloading into smaller municipalities like ours and other communities that we know about is just never taken into factor. And even the the leader of the opposition got up and bragged about their time in government and how they had made deals with the two largest cities in the province, and so proud of it. They're not once mentioning how it affects other rural communities like ourselves, and I've just about had it, and you could tell that the clapping and the cheering in the room when Councillor Waraba brought up her concerns about the Alberta Services offices not being open, and how it is affecting our FCSS and the downloading into smaller communities. And you could feel the passion in the room, and something needs to be done with this government or with the opposition. The overall attitude in this province right now, that only two large cities and maybe 6 more really care, that really count in this province, because it's just getting to the point where smaller municipalities are gonna have to do something about this. So I could tell with all the conversations I had with mayors that I know of other communities around our size, that they're frustrated as well, so. And then I did not attend the decorating of the float. I have had a little soreness, so I couldn't attend, so I want to thank those who did. It was a very good job, and then we had the light up, the candle and the parade, and I thought it went fairly well. I mean, there was a lot more people than I expected that drove through. It was a little disappointing that the float, the numbers were down, but I think that the people that did show up did appreciate the effort that was put in. And it wasn't the warmest night for sure. So, and then tonight's town council meeting. So that's it. We are going to go and have a conversation in closed session, and then the conversation we'll have is intermunicipal conversation about an agreement. And we need to lay out the foundation of this agreement. So we need to do that in a closed session. So I'll take, Councillor Berry makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. So we will be back.